Am I the eye-hole for keeping my son away from my estranged father and his new wife? For a bit of background, my parents separated very messily when I was 14. It was dragged out for years. The divorce was finalized only in the last 5/3 years. My father was at fault. He's a selfish man who is unhealthily obsessed with his religion to the point he's basically brainwashed and only cares about his church. My mother had to take him to court repeatedly as he failed to pay child support. It just never ended. I have had a very up and down relationship with him. We'd have okay periods, but he'd end up doing something narcissistic and self-centered again, and I'd cut contact again. Most recently was due to comments he made regarding abuse in the family. That was about 5/3 years ago. Anyway, he began dating with the hope to remarry a sap a couple of years ago. Within an hour of the divorce being confirmed, he had plastered his new relationship all over social media. I told him from the start that I had no desire to speak to or get to know any woman he got involved in or dated. Long before he met this woman, I was all for my mother being happy, but given the shit my father had put our family through, honestly, I didn't think he deserved any happiness at all. And any woman who involved herself with such a man disgusted me on principle, petty as that may be. So I have never once met his wife, nor have I ever even spoken to the woman, messages or otherwise, nor do I want to. She is closer in age to me than him. She has no children of her own, so very much wants to get her hands on my son, and start proclaiming herself as the best stepmother and whatever else she wants to call herself. His wife has even gone so far as posting photos of my father with my son, going on about how good a father and grandfather he is. Following the comments he made, I went no contact again and decided it was final this time. I was sick of being hurt again by whatever he pulled. That meant, however, that for the first 2 years or so of my son's life, he was there, and I will admit he was excellent with him. Despite being a prick, he is good with kids. Despite all of that, I have never once told him he cannot see my son, but he has never once even asked. In our most argument, I mentioned this, and his excuse was how I wanted nothing to do with his wife, and it wasn't fair that she couldn't see my son, so how on earth was he meant to see him? He has since begun telling family and friends that I have him blocked, and that I am keeping his grandson away from him. I even had one of the members of his religion come into my workplace and verbally abuse me while I served her, saying how disgusted she was that I would treat my father that way and keep his grandson away from him. She also brought up the fact we did not attend his wedding. I was furious and said, maybe stop and ask yourself what he could have possibly done that led to not a single one of his children attend his wedding. This was dismissed, and I was again accused of being horrible and blah blah blah. So, am I the eye-hole for keeping my son away from him and his wife?